All right, welcome back, everyone. Just want to make one more video here, talking through another Latin problem that we have. This one's a little bit more complicated, but we'll see that it also is pretty simple to figure out. We just have to remember a couple key rules for figuring out how to uncover these indirect statement types of sentences. But the first step always stays the same. So we just have to find our main verb and find our subject of that verb. So if you just scan through this sentence, we'll see that we have accusative, nautam plus pecuniae, sed minus virtutis, quam militem habera. So I haven't seen any main verbs yet or any nominative forms yet. But when we get here to the end, we get arbitratus, get my pen out, arbitratus est, and then agricola. So our nominative singular here is our subject, and then we have our perfect deponent verb here in the third singular, arbitratus. So recall that this is our verb. We haven't seen it a ton yet, but arbitror is what this means. It means to think. And it's a fairly common way of introducing this. We have the English word arbitrary, which comes from this, so hope that helps you learn the meaning a little bit. Um, okay, so our Agricola, our farmer, thought, but what did he think? So arbitror is one of these other types of verbs. We've only seen so far verbs like dico, introduce indirect statement, but you can actually have all types of different verbs. If the verb has anything to do with sensing, feeling, thinking, saying, so there's all sorts of different types of verbs that may introduce this sort of sentence. Let me do a little better of a line there. That was also pretty bad. I'm going to get rid of that. So we essentially have these four different classes of verbs. So arbitror has to do with thinking. So it will, I could also include in this, just before we go on, the class of remember or forgetting. That's also a type of verb, like memini or obluiscor. But thinking is another very important category to think through. So the farmer thought that, and then we also have to remember our subject for indirect statement is always in the accusative case. And our verb is an infinitive. So let me just change colors here over to something else to mark this. So we see that I say that I saw this verb earlier, habera. So we'll go ahead and understand that as our main verb, or our dependent verb here. But we also had an accusative subject here, so sailor. So I will go ahead and just mark that as accusative subject. So let's go ahead and start to figure this out. So the sailor is now the subject, so our accusative is now the subject. And what is he doing? He habera. So he has, but what does he have? So there's two different options here. We could go with essentially either of these, but they're seems like they're pretty connected. So, but the key here is just remembering how the relationship between these two types of words work. So, hopefully, when you were thinking through this on your own, you thought through the relationship here, and this is one of those genitive of the whole or partitive genitives, which essentially can be used with these different types of adjectives. More of something, satis enough of all of these different types of adjectives and little adverbials can take this sort of construction. But the main idea is that he had plus pecuniae sed minus virtutis. So he had more of money, or just more money, but, and here is the key for this, but minus, or less, it's where we get the word minus, less than, but less of virtue. And then since we have two comparative adjectives here, plus and minus, are both comparative versions of these adjectives here, we also have a comparison. So our comparison then is quam militem. So than the soldier. So on the large scale, then it's comparing the qualities of the sailor to the qualities of the soldier. But grammatically, I think it's pretty clear how it works together. So, and just also as review, instead of using quam militem, we could have also just as reasonably said quam milita, our adverb, our ablative of comparison there. So this is essentially our sentence. This is how things work together. Hopefully that makes sense to you, and it helped you sort of work through this type of sentence. All right, have a good day.